McFarlin has made its mark on many, many people. I believe in the mission and the witness of this church, and that's the most important thing.
You know, I witnessed people discover, I think, a true love for worship from the incredible worship services that we had.
Anytime I think about the Easter celebration, Easter worship is just terrific.
The wonderful opportunities with the choir when we combined with the Norman Philharmonic, and I would pinch myself to say, is this really real?
When people drive by a congregation and they've never been in there, they ask the question sometimes of, I wonder what it's like in there. Is there anybody in that congregation who would care about me, would engage me in conversation if I went in there? But I think one of the things I've come to believe about this congregation in particular is that it's a place where strangers can become friends and friends can become family.
To watch people grow in their faith, Sunday school classes that were started during that time, young adult class that we started that is still going.
In my ministry, I've always been clear that I was to minister to others. But what I became very clear about is that people sometimes minister to you. Nancy Burgess called me one day and invited me out to come visit with Don, her husband. He had decided not to do dialysis anymore, which means shortly he was going to pass away. And he had chosen to do that. He talked to me about why. And I felt my role as a minister and as a pastor very strongly then. And it was a holy moment that made me feel like that somehow I was in the presence of God in that moment with him.
This church, since I think its inception, has always had a heart for mission. When I came, we had the food pantry in room 200, I think, and utilities assistance was in another room. And I would watch people come and watch how they were treated with such dignity and compassion. That's what the love of Jesus does.
They've always had strong youth mission trips, and you're going down to Mexico. But I remember going on the Guatemala trip, and I didn't have any skills at all other than I held the flashlight for the dentist who was there. One thing about mission trips, it allows people to engage people who are not like them and who have challenges, but also to appreciate them as individuals and as people.
Our connection with the Kalanguas and our ministry in Tanzania. I remember vividly the day that we went, and I wanted to meet with the women to see what their needs were. The response that we received was, we want to have a trade, something we can do where we can raise money to help our village. And so we just happened to have planned ahead that year in worship and had this idea that we would make prayer beads for everyone. We were able to send them all the supplies and then pay them for what they had done. I remember the picture that they sent where all of the prayer beads that they had made were on the floor, and they were all standing over them and praying over them. And the stories that they would send back were simply amazing. Our mission here is changing lives, it changed the world. And that was an opportunity that we had to change a part of the world for these wonderful, wonderful people in the village.
It seems to me that as instruments of God and witnesses for the Christ, that we have an opportunity to share that good news and to further that on into the future. And to me, McFarlin's made its mark, but it has yet more marks to make. And so I celebrated 100 years, and that's wonderful. But I'd like to see it go another 100 years.
As a pastor, when you leave a place, you want it to be better than when you left it. To see what has happened here is, I'm just so thankful, so thankful. The way we change the world is to share God's love one person at a time. And because you love Jesus, you love others. And I think as long as the church does that, the church will be vibrant and alive and well.